First up, we have emphasizing a learner-centered approach. In your teaching philosophy, you could highlight how you place students at the heart of the learning process. You would want to show that you focus on the active participation and engagement of all students in your class. Explain how a learner-centered approach aids in developing deep understanding of the material. Here's an example of what you could write. In my teaching, I strive to create a learner-centered environment where students are actively engaged and their voices are integral to the learning process. Another thing you could include in your teaching philosophy is valuing inclusivity and diversity. Here, you would want to stress the importance of creating an inclusive learning environment that respects and celebrates diversity. This is obviously of even greater importance if you're situated in a diverse school environment, but it could be valid in any setting. An example of what you would want to write could be, my teaching philosophy is grounded in fostering an inclusive environment that respects and values the diverse backgrounds and experiences of all students. Next is advocating for continuous assessment and feedback. Explain how continuous assessment and feedback are key components of your teaching strategy. Describe how formative assessment, in particular, enables you to tailor your instruction to meet students' needs and support their growth. An example of what you could write could be, I believe in the power of continuous assessment and feedback to adapt my teaching methods to the evolving needs of each student. You could also talk about how you promote collaborative learning. Here, you'd emphasize how collaborative learning encourages students to engage with one another, enhancing their learning experience and developing essential social skills. You could even connect this to the socio-cultural theory of learning, which highlights the importance of social interaction in student development. An example of what you could write is, my teaching approach is centered on collaborative learning where students learn to work together, share ideas, and develop critical thinking skills through dialogue with each other. Next, we have highlighting your flexibility and adaptability as a teacher. In your philosophy, discuss the importance of being flexible and adaptable in your teaching methods to meet the unique needs of all students. Explain how this flexibility allows you to respond to the diverse learning styles and needs of your students. An example of what you could write is, I am committed to a flexible, adaptable teaching style, ensuring that I meet the unique learning needs and styles of each student in my classroom. Next is incorporating technology in the classroom. Talk about how integrating technology in your teaching can enhance the learning experiences of your students. Describe how it provides diverse and innovative ways to engage students and support their learning, such as through gamification and tech-enhanced data gathering on student needs. An example could be, my teaching philosophy includes the integration of technology to enrich learning experiences and offer students a variety of engaging educational tools. It's a good idea to include specific examples of specific tools that you often use in your classroom. Next, we have focusing on real-world application. Here, you would want to mention how you emphasize the application of theory to real-world scenarios in order to make learning feel relevant to your students. This approach helps students understand why they are engaging with their learning materials and prepares them for practical challenges. An example could be, in my teaching, I emphasize the real-world application of concepts, preparing students to effectively tackle real-life challenges in the workforce. Next, we have encouraging lifelong learning. Your philosophy should reflect a commitment to instilling a love for lifelong learning in your students. Explain how this approach not only covers the curriculum, but also inspires students to continue seeking knowledge beyond what's covered in the curriculum. An example of what you could write could be, I aim to inspire a passion for lifelong learning, encouraging students to remain curious and engaged learners throughout their lives. Next, we have reflection on personal and professional growth. Here, you would want to highlight the importance of personal and professional growth in your teaching philosophy by discussing how continuous reflection and learning as an educator are crucial to improving and adapting on your teaching methods. An example could be, my teaching philosophy is deeply rooted in continuous personal and professional growth, ensuring that I'm always evolving and improving as an educator. Next, we have developing critical thinking skills in our students. Stress the importance of developing critical thinking skills in your students by explaining how your teaching methods challenge students to think deeply and independently, always being open to changing their minds with evolving evidence. An example of what you could write is, I prioritize the development of critical thinking skills in my teaching challenging students to analyze, question, and synthesize information independently. Next, we have promoting student autonomy. Describe how encouraging independent learning helps students develop self-confidence and self-reliance throughout their educational journey. An example of what you could write is, my teaching philosophy is centered on promoting student autonomy, guiding learners toward becoming self-sufficient and confident in their academic pursuits. Next is a growth mindset. In your teaching philosophy, explain how a growth mindset encourages students to view challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than as obstacles preventing learning. If you're a student writing an essay on your teaching philosophy, it might be a good idea here to cite Carol Dweck, who came up with this term. An example of what you could write is, I advocate for a growth mindset in my classroom, encouraging students to see challenges as opportunities to grow and learn. Next, we have commitment to equity in education. Here you would want to highlight your commitment to ensuring that all students have access to the resources and support they need to succeed. Discuss how this involves recognizing and addressing the unique challenges and barriers faced by different students, including students with neurodivergent needs. Examples could be, my teaching philosophy is rooted in the principle of equity, ensuring that every student has the support and resources they need to thrive. Next up, we have prioritizing emotional intelligence. Here you would want to emphasize the importance of developing emotional intelligence in your teaching and not only cognitive development. Describe how managing emotions is a crucial skill for personal and professional success. An example you could write is, I prioritize nurturing emotional intelligence in my students, recognizing its importance in their overall personal and professional development. Lastly, we have fostering a sense of community. Highlight the importance of building a strong classroom community. Explain how this fosters a supportive learning environment where students feel connected and valued. You could also talk about the importance of including parents within the learning community in your classroom. An example of what you could write is, my teaching philosophy is centered on fostering a strong sense of community where each student feels a sense of belonging and support within my classrooms. It's also probably a good idea to cover some teaching strategies when talking about your teaching philosophy. In this next video, I cover 15 teaching strategies all teachers need to know. Select a few teaching strategies that resonate with you and integrate them into your teaching philosophy.